is the sound of hospice money. Could you just answer the question, what's the need for a 1,000% increase in hospice care here inside of LA? Do you have the paperwork to enroll a little boy by the name of Joey?
You don't know what's going on.
Well, it says there's 14 children enrolled here on the state of California. That there is $6,000 per beneficiary. Can you give us any explanation? Where can we open a hospice at? Get a Maybach just like you.
California may have the largest amount of fraud in the country, as California is the state with the highest taxes and collects more money than any other state in America. It is filled with fraud. California's version of Medicaid, called Medi-Cal, has more than doubled since 2022 from $108 billion to a proposed $222 billion in 2026. Their population, however, has not grown exponentially. However, their spending has. There has been a 1,000% increase in hospice care in the Los Angeles County. In fact, 1 out of every $10 of home health care in America is spent in Los Angeles. On top of that, their government-funded daycare programs are filled with violations. While they continue to give money to these fraudsters, it is estimated that the fraud in California could be in the hundreds of billions of dollars. In this video, we'll be going face to face with these fraudsters, confronting them as they defraud the American taxpayer out of millions and billions of dollars as they live their lives in luxury, driving around luxurious cars that cost more than $100,000 that you actually paid for. Let's start first by going to these daycares filled with violations that still continue to receive money from the government.
So this is the location of the daycare. It's in the middle of this shopping plaza. A lot of the buildings are closed down or boarded up and have been graffitied. And then you also have just a big dumpster right here with all this garbage, and then the daycare is right there. We're gonna go in right now.
We actually have a homeless person there too. Did you see that?
There's actually somebody sleeping here right now. Hello? You all right?
Yeah.
And so there is a homeless man who's sleeping right next to the daycare. He's sleeping right here, and the daycare is right there. This does not look like a place where you'd want to bring your child, and it does not look suitable and set the code to be a place where children are enrolled. So they do have some children here. How many do they usually say they have, or what's the story with the children?
The last few visits from the state have said that they have 39 enrolled.
And right now we're seeing about 5 children.
Yes.
They are enrolling right now. It says Medina Learning Center is now enrolling, so let's see if little Joey can learn a little bit here at Medina. Do you have the paperwork to enroll a little boy by the name of Joey? Yes, we'd like to enroll little Joey into daycare.
They have as their backup facility the UMI Learning Center, and the UMI Learning Center was convicted in federal court in 2024 of having 150 ghost kids. So I want to find out what the affiliation is and why this facility is listed as the backup.
Yeah, can I get the paperwork to enroll a child?
Yes, I can.
Great.
What do you think about daycares being used for fraudulent businesses to receive money from the government to say they're enrolling 39 children, 89 children, and for millions of dollars be going towards these facilities? What do you think about that as you do work in a daycare?
No, it does happen. I've seen it like elsewhere. I've seen it. I've been listening to the news. So it does happen. Time to time.
Thank you.
The card that they gave us, this is the licensee, the person who owns it.
And that's so far been the only thing they've been able to give us as to how to enroll a child.
Hey, welcome to my borrowed faculty. You will with my borrowed faculty. So much democracy when you employer me. You want to win your next election. I can help you win your erection. So much democracy.
Do you want to win your next election with ballot faggotry? Ben, hold it together, okay? Ben, hold it together, okay? There's a serious topic that we are talking about this morning. This is the fate of the country, actually. Yeah, it's been hitting me pretty hard these last couple of days. And I know I finally snapped yesterday, like on the people who just don't understand that they weren't elected president, actually, and they can run for president. They have every right, actually. They have every right to run for president, except for Piers Morgan. He wasn't born here. So you're not allowed to run for president, but you can run for office, okay? Or you can help the movement that is doing its best to save America. Or you can help the movement that's doing its best to destroy America. And that's pretty much the choices that we're left with. And they're not great choices. There's no such thing as anything perfect in life. We're not promised to get everything that we want in life, but we are given a gift right now of seeing what is in store for us if we decide to help the other side. And a reminder, if you just don't vote, or if you vote for a third party, you're just guaranteeing that the people that is waiting at the gates to rip the gates down, to flood this country with every conceivable population of the third world, to swamp every red state. I mean, if you think what's bad, what happened under Biden was bad, wait till you see what they have planned. And they've told you to naturalize the whole of Somalia and Sierra Leone. And the whole of every third world country, every third world nation in the world will flood our nation. They'll get naturalized. They'll get full welfare benefits. You will never see a free country again. It's something that they have projected. They've told us how they're going to do it. They've explained how they're going to do it. And we've worked to expose what they are doing. We went to California and showed the world what was happening with the homeless industrial complex fraud. The homeless industrial complex in California is built entirely on giving criminal aliens access to federal benefits. We were able to expose hundreds of millions of dollars. Here it is. And then we were out there for what, Klein? 2 days? We were out there, sure, for like 24 hours on the ground, actually. And we were able to find hundreds of millions of dollars. Nick Shirley just dropped a heater. He's able to find hundreds of millions of dollars in hospice fraud and daycare fraud in California. What is all of this? Payouts. Payouts to criminal aliens, to legal migrants who are here from the third world, who are brought in here in order to rip off the American people. All of it is an election rigging operation in order to collapse this nation, continue to engorge blue states with power. When regular Americans flee, they replace us. It is legitimately the great replacement. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not even a theory. It's the reality. And we're here to stop them. A vote for a third-party candidate, a vote for a left-wing candidate, is not only a vote to dissolve whatever's left of America entirely, to surrender this nation to the third world, but it's also a vote, of course, to betray your children's future, because it will be a future of mutilation, of persecution for Christians. It will be Armageddon. It will be what is warned about in Revelation. We are the vanguard against it. We're going to devote our show to calling out black pillars, to calling out the people that are doing their best, I guess for clicks, I guess for monetization, in order to rip apart the MAGA movement, or what is effectively like the Save America movement, and to reset the conversation. Like, what are you doing here exactly? We did elect President Trump 3 times to office. He is the name on the ballot. You get good Trump and bad Trump. And the best that you can possibly do is work the system, work within the system in order to achieve your political goals. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be a one-to-one. We're not promised perfect in life. We are promised the fight. That's what we're going to engage on in this show. We're not going to blackpill. We're not going to burn our MAGA hats. We're going to keep fighting. That's what we're going to do. It's what Charlie would have done. It's what Charlie always taught us to do. And one little story I'm not sure that I've ever told on this show. After 2020, this is like where, you know, it's amazing. Like yesterday, I was like tweeting about how like we didn't elect podcasters to be president. We elected Trump, right? And you get good Trump and bad Trump. And what's way worse than your disagreements with Trump is what the left is about to do to us. And we should like be very thoughtful about that. And I got so much heat for that. I don't care. Because I come from the school of Charlie. Unlike a lot of these people, I actually knew Charlie. These people didn't know Charlie, all right? And they all have these remarkable stories that seem to align perfectly with whatever worldview they wish to push today. I'd encourage everyone to stop using a dead man in order to make your modern political points. I think it's grotesque. Here's a real story just about the ethos of Charlie. I'm not telling it to win and score any political points. It's just like who the man was. After the 2020 election, we all knew exactly how crooked and rigged that election was. And Charlie knew damn well that what that meant, like Joe Biden and Democrats seizing power, meant that he would be persecuted, and Turning Point would be persecuted. And most people would be considering closing up shop, hiring a bunch of defense lawyers, perhaps shutting down, like holing up in the mountains with your family, and just hope, like weathering the storm, because you knew the persecution was going to come. You knew President Trump was going to get shot in the head, raided in Mar-a-Lago. Everyone was going to get arrested. Charlie predicted all of this before it happened, and it all happened. Trump shot, Trump raided, people close to Trump arrested, hundreds of them, thousands of them. And of course, Turning Point was on that list. And instead of like, I was there at like the little 5 families meeting at Turning Point, and instead of like crying, curling up a little fetal position in the corner and weeping and cursing God and dying, you know, the way that Job, you know, the way the story of Job goes, Job's wife at least. Charlie goes, "We are going to go 50 times harder." He looks across the table with that icy stare, and he just goes, "We are going to go 50 times harder." And that was probably like the lowest point for our movement, frankly, in the days after 2021. I mean, watching Joe Biden get sworn in under like a military administration of Washington, D.C. to an empty Washington, D.C., everyone masking. It was a black Sabbath. It was dark. And it'd be well for you to remember where God's taken us from. And just because we're not exactly where we want to be in the future doesn't mean that God hasn't brought us up out of the valley. And we should be wise. We would be wise in order to lock in, be grateful for what God has done, and then to keep fighting. There's my little motivational speech for today. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Shirley on the program live in seconds here. We also will have James O'Keefe joining the show. Just found out. Hey, ALX, can you go ahead and get connected with James? We were going to talk full-time, full-on, full-bore, balls to the wall, red line, California fraud today. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. The show brought to you by American Financing. Make sure that you are locking in your American future. So many fraudsters out there, so many people rigging the system. The system is rigged against you if you have mounting credit card debt. The debt mortgage rates have been out of control. Mortgage rates are extremely high. Credit card debt percentages are insanely high, 20%, 30%. It's usury rates. It's illegal. It should be illegal. Anyway, my friends at American Financing can help you get out of that, reconsolidate that debt, get it paid off, and seize your American future. It's America's home for home loans, 888-528-1219, 888-528-1219, AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. Go there today. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a series of bombshell exposés in California and the fraudulence in the California system. This is the Nick Shirley video that was dropped over I think it was 2 or 3 days ago. 32 million views and 110,000 reposts, hundreds of thousands of likes. Nick Shirley in 40 minutes just absolutely running like a bulldozer through the California fraud system, exposing multiple levels of fraud. We were out there just last month exposing homeless industrial complex frauds. We decided there's so many areas of fraud in California. You have to kind of just focus your time. I'm not going to move out there permanently. And we were able to find hundreds of millions of dollars worth of fraud in just a matter of days. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Shirley's piece has caused panic throughout the government. We played you just a little bit at the top of the show. Joining us live right now is Nick Shirley to talk through the aftermath of what has happened in the once golden state of California, now the fraud capital of the world. Welcome, Nick Shirley, to the program live now. Hey, Nick, welcome back to the show, man. What's going on?
How's it going?
Hey, bro. You in the back? Are you in the back? You in the back of your fraud van?
Yeah, we're in the back of the fraud van.
Talk to me about Gavin Newsom, man. He's lost his mind. So maybe we can begin with what you exposed. It's a 40-minute video. Obviously, it's been clipped and gone nuclear viral all across the internet. Can you give our audience a bit of the top line of some of the more shocking findings, please?
Yeah, so the findings are that there's over 1,000% increase in hospices in the LA area. And so there's around 1,500 hospices there. And most of these hospices receive millions of dollars. They bill what's called Medi-Cal. Medi-Cal has a budget. I think last year was around $180 billion. This year it's going to go up to around $200 billion. And so these people are able to then claim that they have these patients. Meanwhile, they don't have any patients. They use the Medicare beneficiary numbers, which is like an infinite credit card hack for old people. And then they just bill these people, and essentially they just bill them, and it just comes straight out of Medi-Cal. Like having a Medicare beneficiary number is as good as having anyone's credit card if you're above the age of 65.
So Medi-Cal is funded though by the federal government. I think this is like critical for people to understand, because a lot of our audience and people living in red states are like, well, those libs can just light their money on fire. That's fine. But so much of this money, the vast majority of it, comes from, for instance, the housing complex is going to come from HUD. Medi-Cal is going to come from HHS, right? Like these are federal dollars. These are our dollars.
Yeah, a large portion, more than 50% of Medi-Cal is federal money, because it's just essentially it's their Medicaid. It's just their version of Medicaid that they call Medi-Cal.
So they're looting the U.S. Treasury.
Yeah, they're all doing it. Like it's so much money. And the thing with that money is it's so much. So even if there's 1%, even if 1% of the $100 billion is fraudulent, that's $1 billion in fraud. You know?
Right. Right.
There's the budget right there.
You can see the chart right here. So this is $1 billion in fraud. This makes Minnesota look like small potatoes.
Yeah. I mean, just the pure amount of money is insane. And then they also have the daycare fraud as well. That's through a different program called CalWorks. They even ran their own independent audit, and they found out like 1.6% was fraudulent, or was going to waste. And if you do the math on that, it's at least $100 million based off the $6 billion they allocate to CalWorks.
Some people like just have their eyes glaze over when they hear the sheer numbers. I mean, the numbers here are hard to track because there's just so much money that is being squandered and wasted. Maybe you could break it down, since you've spent so much time on the ground. How does this benefit Democrats in the state of California? What is the actual operation here? Because if this were, Nick, if this were you, like parking illegally in California. So we went to California, we got a parking ticket for being at a meter that was expired by like 2 minutes. Like, it's not like California can't enforce the law. They choose not to enforce the law in specific sectors that benefit the Democrat Party. Is that correct?
Yeah, 100%. And I think what you're seeing more than anything is like a two-tier system where it's like rules for thee, but not for me, where they're able to allow, for instance, these fraudsters to get away with this fraud for years, despite having all the red flags of being a fraudster, yet they don't do anything about it, because then they'd be attacking a minority group, or they might lose a certain group of votes or a stronghold of the city, because a lot of this fraud that's taking place is in Van Nuys, where there's a high population of people from Armenia, Russia, you name it. The Somalians in San Diego were the ones committing the daycare fraud. And so they're worried about causing some sort of uproar within these communities. Meanwhile, they're looting from the American taxpayer. I mean, most of these people aren't even from America, yet they're able to get onto these programs that the federal government funds. And so it all just needs to stop. Like, the fraud is so high. And even if it's 1%, 1% of $1 billion, 1% of $100 billion, that's a lot of money.
Yes, it's hundreds of millions of dollars of fraud that's going to people who might be criminal aliens, who may not even belong here, who are sending it back to Somalia. There's now a housing boom in Somalia. It's remarkable. I'm seeing some news this morning about how well Somalia is doing these days with stolen federal tax dollars. They've really gotten that system up and running.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think we should all go take a little trip to Somalia and get some of our money back. Yeah. Or maybe it'd be like maybe they could do like a free trip to Somalia. Like, the Somalian government gives every U.S. citizen that wants to go a free trip.
Are you going to Somalia next, Nick?
Might go to try to reclaim some dollars, head over to Somalia. Only if Ilhan will set up like all the travel and like help me make sure I get a good guide and everything like that. If Ilhan can help with that,
I will sign up for the Nick Shirley Somalia. Although, dude, we might be held hostage, like, if we decided to go there.
Yeah.
I think you're probably pretty famous there.
That's what I'm saying. We have to get Ilhan to approve it. We got to get her to plan it all. No,
I'm sorry, please. So Ilhan, of course, had massive crash outs, but I don't think even the Ilhan crash outs have been as bad as the Gavin Newsom crash outs over you simply exposing fraud. I mean, you're doing a service, right? Like, nobody likes squandering taxpayer dollars. I would preface this by saying the reason that California likes wasting this style of money is because they get votes out of it. It's a way to ensure that certain communities always vote for you, that you don't upset certain communities. You get them addicted to taxpayer dollars. Gavin Newsom doesn't want to find the fraud because he likes these communities voting Democrat permanently. That's the point. If you cut off the money, they're going to potentially vote Republican or vote for somebody else. And so that's the issue here. Gavin Newsom's losing his mind. It's the same issue with the homeless industrial complex that we found. They're able to make an enormous amount of money from it. They're able to register voters from it. They're able to funnel taxpayer dollars to their friends and their campaigns through it. So the whole system is rotted. And you can see here, this post, Gavin Newsom putting up, like, attacking you, putting a target on your back, and like signaling to his base that you are actually the dangerous one here, that you are some type of leader, criminal, predator. I mean, this is what he's doing. He's like, Gavin Newsom sending a mark on you.
Yeah, exactly. And by no means, like, imagine thinking with the logic that let's go after the person exposing the fraud, or let's put a target on his back. Yes. Meanwhile, there's people that are ransacking the U.S. tax dollars.
What is your message to Gavin Newsom on doing this?
I think he needs to think logically and say, well, this is bad. Fraud's bad. Let's crack down on it. Whether the kid who's exposing the fraud is a Republican or Democrat, it's a good thing he's exposing it.
Yeah, I mean, he's not paying you. This is like a great service to the state of California. And yeah, Gavin Newsom wants to run for president. Like, wouldn't you want to like run a tight ship?
Yeah, he's gonna actually, like, by doing this, he's actually making everyone loves money. So the fact that he's getting mad at somebody for exposing where their money's being lost, he's gonna actually lose a lot of support.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the way that I've seen them react, I think they view this as like a major threat to his political future.
Oh, 100%. That's why you see them try to make those posts, but it doesn't work. Anyone with a brain can see through it.
What would you like to see happen, Nick, in California? I know that you spent days, weeks, I don't know, maybe months out there. You know the system probably is as good as anybody right now, except for the fraudsters on the inside. You know, what could they do to fix it?
Yeah, I would like to see those fraudsters committing all that hospice fraud get arrested and get sent back to wherever they came from. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I would love to see happen.
Yeah. What about from a state level? You know, clearly fraud's illegal, right? You can't do this. James O'Keefe has some interesting reporting out, like, of paying for, cash for ballots, It's wild to see the government actually responding. Gavin Newsom keeps responding, like saying, no, this is all illegal. You got us. It's very interesting how he hasn't done that with your reporting.
Yeah, you would like them to take some sort of accountability and say, okay, like these aren't right or left issues because it's fraud. Like tax dollars don't say Republican or Democrat on them. So you'd like them to say, okay, let's actually fight against this fraud. Maybe we could even work with the fraud task force and we can actually go after the fraud.
Would you serve?
It's actually like it's a very big layup for Republicans and Democrats to go in and make this a make this not a Republican or Democrat issue, but make it just an issue for the well-being of America. And so like you actually am giving them the opportunity to like come together on something for once. That's something that's so non-controversial, but they make it controversial.
Would you serve on the National Fraud Task Force with JD Vance? Have you been asked?
I haven't been asked. I mean, I'd collaborate with them, but I think like one of the reasons why I'm able to have so much, make it so much of a difference is because I'm not working for the federal government. I'm just a person going out and doing it. I don't know what that would look like. I'd be interesting to hear what they have to say. It would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you are the face of the anti-fraud movement, so I think it'd be good. And I think that a lot of people. I was really frustrated. I hope you don't mind if I just like pop off here for a second because I've been frustrated that nothing's not as much as I thought would happen after your Minnesota expose. That was totally devastating. The Leering Center got shut down, but like, did they actually? They just took the sign down. It's like I wish that there was a more aggressive approach towards anti-fraud. What would you like to see happen? Maybe starting in Minnesota.
Yeah, I think in Minnesota, I know they have a bunch of people there right now investigating, and I think with some of this stuff, everyone's expecting to see arrests like the next day, next week, but it takes a long time for prosecutions to take place and for investigators to gather all the evidence. I do hope they catch the Learning Center people, the Leering Center people before they make it their way to the airport.
With those bags of cash?
With their bags of cash.
I understand that. And, we're close with people at the DOJ and they're constantly telling us like pump the brakes, this stuff to do it right and to make it stick. It takes a lot of time. I guess my major frustration and why we're doing this show today is that I want to keep the attention on it. It's we talk about the SAVE Act being a 90-10 issue. This is a 90-10 issue. Nobody wants this fraud. Nobody wants this. You cut across, the reason why it's so viral is you cut across all party lines by doing this. Everybody agrees with you that this is wrong, except for the fraudsters, I think.
Yes, except for the fraudsters. Yeah, so I think there needs to be a way where they can expedite the process to simply arrest these people who are committing the fraud. Because, for instance, the feeding our future scam that took place in Minnesota, they're still actively arresting people, and people are now pleading guilty. And that happened a few years ago. So we don't want to see in 2 years the Leering Center CEO is now finally pleading guilty 2 years later. Like, we want to see them plead guilty tomorrow. Like less hearings in Congress and more prosecutions.
Do you really think that the Leering Center owners might skip the country and might go back to Somalia?
I mean, I would if I were them. Like, they made it so obvious. I would be getting on that flight to Somalia as fast as I could.
Did you see that left-wing YouTuber that they gave a tour of the Leering Center to? Did you see that? Where they like freshly painted the walls and got these brand new toys right out of the box?
Yes, they that must have been the most stupid operation I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, so bad.
Oh man. So you're like you're kind of like the meme with the Grim Reaper, right? Going door to door. I think, you officially did kill Tim Walz's career. Ilhan Omar is not having a good one. This is something Ilhan Omar was losing her mind at the State of the Union, screaming, melting down. I wonder, since it seems like everybody is trying to consolidate around Gavin Newsom, I wonder if it's going to be even harder to get this one to stick. I think we're trying, like now I think we're like, between me and you and James O'Keefe, and Cam Higbee, like everyone focusing on California, I think that's the right play, actually. California is the epicenter of all fraud.
Yeah, and then the governor, who's always constantly bragging about how great California is, but then he's always blaming Trump for the disaster that it is. So you have this governor who's always just complaining about Trump and Trump and Trump. Meanwhile, he has a responsibility to run the biggest state in America, but he doesn't do it. All he does is he's actually like on a podcast tour right now. Like, what's he doing? When have you ever had a governor on a podcast tour selling his book?
telling black people I'm stupid just like you. You know, I got a low IQ just like you. It's great.
Yeah, now it's like such a good thing to have dyslexia, and he's just bragging about it. It's like, okay, Gavin, like nobody cares you have dyslexia. Do your job.
What is it with you and how you were raised, or your faith, or the way that maybe God just put you together that allows you to sort of walk into these fraudsters, whether it's in New York City, people selling fake Gucci bags, or whether it's straight into these Somali daycares, or whether it's in California, walking through these homeless encampments? Like, what is it that drives you and allows you to do that? Most people would be pretty terrified and pretty scared. A lot of these people are unhinged. Some of them are clearly violent. You've clearly been threatened and run out of a lot of places. You talk about that?
Yeah,
Nick?
I think it's a accumulation of a lot of experiences I've had growing up, and then also being the younger brother. I mean, I was always just like the test dummy, and I had to kind of grow up without fear to be able to hang out with my older brothers. And so I think that definitely helped. And then I also just know that what I'm doing is good, and I don't have anything to fear because I'm not doing anything bad. If I was doing something bad, I'd have something to fear. And so like, I do feel like God is on my side when I go into these situations, because I'm just going to show the truth. And it's actually a big public service for our country. And we know that our country is the greatest country in the world, but it won't be the greatest country in the world if we allow all this fraud and all these foreigners who aren't even from here come in and loot from the American taxpayer that's actively working to make America great. But then you have people who aren't from here who don't have the same values as us. So there needs to be someone who's willing to stand up to them. If it's me, great. If it's somebody else, great. But we all do need to do our part, because if not, America won't be the America that made it great.
Since you said there in your last answer, I feel like God is with me. Could you expound on that a little bit? Because again, a lot of the comments are just like, dude, you're really brave. You're going to some of the darkest, most corrupt corners of our society where no journalist will ever touch, right? There's 100,000 journalists out there, a bunch of really powerful and very rich news companies. They won't ever touch this stuff. I think because they're too scared. I know a lot of them, and they're cowards, but you're doing it, and you say that God's on your side. Expound on that.
Well, I just think when you're doing something good, like, this world is good versus evil. And so when you're doing something good, you're obviously going to have the support from God. And I don't think like any of the viewers watching right now, also, if they go out and do something good, they're going to have support from God as well.
Do you feel like you're protected when you go in?
I would hope
spiritually
so.
When you go into these places? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd hope so. So yeah, I do feel, and people are always praying for me as well. Like, every time I meet people in the streets or whatnot, they say they pray for me, which helps. And so I do feel that. So yeah, I would hope that, and the majority of people are on my side. I've never even had a bad interaction in public, except for when I go to these hostile locations.
So what would be your message to President Trump? And by the way, just as we're talking about this, I want to put up on screen here how you can support Nick. Obviously, Nick does go into these hostile locations. This is the Black Line Security Group. Just since we're talking about it, you can support Nick and some of your favorite independent creators and help fund their security. And Nick has to have security, especially when he goes into these locations, because your life is constantly under threat, and some of the biggest names in politics are doxing you.
Yeah, and so it's weird because you have like good interactions with the average American citizen, and then you have these people that are just so upset. And when Gavin Newsom does make posts where you do look like a PDF, it then radicalizes a small group of their base to think that they need to go after Nick Shirley. And so that's where you see the doxing attempts. Like if I go to a city in California and it's a liberal place, right? Someone will take a photo of me. This happened actually to me just the other day. And it also happened to me in Baltimore when I was in Baltimore a few weeks ago. Someone takes a photo of me and then they put it out into these groups, into their Reddit groups. And literally they will say like, if you see Nick Shirley, it's on site. Or if you see Nick Shirley, push him out of our city.
We went to Portland, and that happened with us as we were getting on our plane. There was some little Antifa goblin, pink-haired girl, who was just filming me as I'm boarding my flight. I don't know if it's illegal or not, but like it seemed very invasive. And as I'm sitting there on the plane, she's like walking in with their phone and like putting up photos that I'm going to Portland. And we were just going there we were going there on ice raids, actually. And then, sure enough, there's protesters everywhere, everywhere that we went. It's paramilitary. I mean, it's evil. It's like paramilitary. It's like an entire military operation of like insurgents in the country.
Well, yeah. You see, they have these like Signal group chats. They have these Discords. They have these Reddits, and it's a whole entire web that they have created to go against their opposition. And it's just a bunch of people who really don't have anything better to do except be on these Reddits or on these Discords going after their opposition. Like, they're so angry at me for exposing fraud. Well, don't you know that those are your dollars that are getting stolen as well? And by them continuing to enable fraud, that devalues your dollar, which is going to make your life even harder.
Man, what's your message to Trump? What would you like to see the president do? Have you gotten a phone call from him or any outreach?
I have not. I would love for President Trump to arrest all the fraudsters and to deport all of them. And if they have been a naturalized citizen, to denaturalize their citizenship and then send them back to their country as well.
Yeah.
I think that would really kill a lot of people. And to see that they're cracking down on the fraudsters and treating them as the criminals that they are.
Yes. Yeah, I think it'd send a message. Just a couple of high-profile deportations or denaturalizations would send the correct message, and I think it'd like have a major chilling effect on the fraud circles.
Yeah, 100%. Especially with the midterms coming up, they have to do everything they can to get as many wins as they can. Because who knows what's going to happen after these midterms? So, and to go after these people on these common sense topics like fraud, like we should start getting rid of these fraudsters and make sure we can do everything we can to prosecute and arrest them and hold them accountable.
Yes. And we said it yesterday when we were talking with the senator about the SAVE Act. If you won't have to worry about illegal aliens voting if you deported all the illegal aliens.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and you just see how evil the Democrat Party is right now. I mean, Schumer the other day is like, well, if they pass the SAVE Act, then millions of people aren't going to be able to vote. Okay, well, that proves that there's illegal people voting. Like, they're so anti-American and so anti-America that it's so hard to believe, but they do know how to rally up their troops.
Yeah, it's like, but they expose themselves, and it's clearly an anti-America party. It's clearly the entire hope of the, I think, future of the Democrat Party is the third world and as many criminal aliens as they can get over here to vote, to get welfare, get addicted to that's been the system for like 20 years. They've been slowly building towards this, and now that's it. That's the future of the party. I think it's critical to pass the SAVE Act. I think it's also critical to deport all the illegals here. I mean, again, you wouldn't need the SAVE Act if you didn't have so many illegals here. It wouldn't be a problem with illegals voting.
Yes, Benny, we got a lot of fraud maxers and welfare maxers in our system right now. A lot of them.
I assume you're in favor of the SAVE Act.
Of course.
Yes. And then what would be your final message, perhaps, to the people who support you, who want you to go out and like keep doing this work? Obviously, you have a huge online community that has your back. Maybe you can preview where you're going to be focusing next.
Yeah, I think the most important thing for people is to obviously watch, share, and support. And if you do know fraud, I created a website called antifraudclub.com where you can actually go in and submit a tip. So I get lots of messages on like Instagram, X, and it's hard for me to filter through them all. So if you go to antifraudclub.com, there's a spot where you can then there's an email where you can send in the tips, and those get read by me and my team, and that way we can actually go and expose more fraud in certain locations. And then also people can do their own part in exposing the fraud as well.
You can see it. You can see it right here. Nick, it's been an absolute honor. I cannot encourage you enough to support Nick. Obviously, we have the Give, Send, Go here. We have the Blackline Security link here. It's also in the description. You can buy the Equality Leering Center hoodie.
Yes.
Nick, they leered their last leer.
Yes, they leered their last year. We also have these new ones. They're called the Anti-Taxpayer Fraud Club. Where did my tax dollars go? On the back it says Anti-Fraud Taxpayer Club. Let everyone know that you're a taxpayer, a legal one, an anti-fraud.
Well, we will hope very much. We're working right now. We're trying really hard to be a moderator at a 2028 debate. And if that happens, then you'll be the one who asks Gavin Newsom the question. We're going to force that. We were going to make a public promise right now. Yeah. Thank you, Nick. Godspeed. Everybody support Nick. He has millions of followers right here as his account. Obviously, you should already be following him. But if not, make sure that you are flowing in there and supporting the people who are fighting for you. Godspeed, Nick.
Awesome. Thank you, Benny.
Thanks, man. Later, homie. Godspeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Total legend. Team, like, yeah, good. Okay, fantastic. What a great hope for the future. Is it encouraging? Like, it's completely encouraging. I was actually blackpilling leading up to the Christmas break because I'm not one to blackpill, but I was like, man, it's like sometimes like you're looking out at young people today and you're like, is there enough hustle? Is there enough grind? Is there enough, like, is there really anyone else who could Charlie Kirk it? Of course, there's never going to be another Charlie Kirk, but everybody can just try harder and push harder and do more and bring that same energy, that same, like, we're never going to quit energy. We're going to go 50 times harder energy. And then Nick drops this like bombshell expose right before Christmas. It's like, man, yes, there's great hope out there. God's got our back, ladies and gentlemen. I know that Patriot Mobile also has us connected. When we do interviews like that with Nick Shirley in the van, going down the road, a Patriot Mobile phone would really help because they are the single most connected premium priority access cell phone service provider in the world. For 12 years. They have been the only Christian conservative wireless provider on the internet. They are the backbone of our company. Their 100% US-based customer support can get you switched over today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny and call 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code Benny for a free month of service. patriotmobile.com/Benny or call 972-PATRIOT to switch today. I am really thrilled that James O'Keefe is also going to be joining us, ladies and gentlemen, in the next hour to talk about his remarkable expose in California. And I want to just, because Nick Shirley's has had a little more time on the internet. James just dropped his yesterday. Massive report, California ballot fraud, cash for ballots. James has gotten the government actually to pop off on this. Remarkable thing. It's texting me right now. The governor's office, the Gavin Newsom governor's office, instead of attacking James, has surrendered to James O'Keefe, something I've never seen before. It'll be remarkable to speak about. The illegal petition operation, ladies and gentlemen, in California, this is what James captured. It is an operation to buy ballots from the same homeless industrial complex that we exposed. And we asked the question, what is the reason that California is spending so much money on their homeless industrial complex. And the reason is this. They're getting rich off it. They're getting power from it. They're able to use each homeless person to launder money and votes. And James exposed it. Here's just a quick preview of what James has been exposing in California.
Now we're gonna give you $2. We gotta need 14 signatures.
The petitioner Brenda Brown hands cash money to the homeless person, not only for signing the California Ballot initiative, but also as payment for them to register to vote.
Now, because you haven't registered, I need to register you so I can get paid too. I'm paying you guys, I need to get paid.
That is a federal felony. And it didn't just happen once, it happened over and over and over again. We personally witnessed and covertly filmed this happening at least 28 times over the span of our investigation, and that is just in Los Angeles. Many of the homeless have zero understanding of what it is that they're actually signing.
But what is that petition for? You know what the petition for?
I do not know.
The petitioners instruct the homeless to enter made-up addresses like Pinocchio Lane.
What do I put as my address?
Yeah, just put you live on Pinocchio Lane.
Oh, you can just take it out.
Oh, good.
And all of this occurring just outside the front doors of shelters and NGOs such as Weingart Center, which have received hundreds of millions of dollars in government money. One Weingart employee tells us when and where to find the illegal cash exchanges for signatures outside, and says the cash being given out is coming from a higher source.
Do you know if they provide the money that they're handing out?
Yeah,
the company
that's what they give out. When they give the money out, they got to go back and tally up if they stealing the money or not, so they got to have signatures. Most of them they be right across the street under that tree. You can check with them Monday through Friday.
While another Weingart employee advises the homeless on how to practice plausible deniability and ignorance of the law.
See, they say ignorance is no excuse for the law. But a lot of times I have to say I didn't know. I had no idea.
Oh, that would be what he should say.
He should say.
Yeah. The petitioners orchestrate an elaborate pyramid scheme of unregistered petition circulators.
If I were to hire you, you would be under me. Yes. I'm under my son, I'm under him, and you under me. So it's like a pyramid game, and really, I don't need you, you need me. I don't need you.
One of the petitioners threatens to attack one of our journalists.
Go down the street, bro, before we move you down the street. I'll knock you out looking right at me.
Bro, why are you trying to be like that, bro?
Say I won't knock your ass out. Bitch ass nigga, don't come over here again. I'm gonna beat your ass.
And an employee of the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority records not the fraud, but the people exposing it.
That you okay? Why are you filming? Why are you filming us? I'm with the LAPD.
You know it's a crime to say you're with the police when you're not.
No, I'm not with the LAPD.
Well, that's what you just said 2 minutes ago. Why did you lie?
As the NGOs pretended to be the police in order to intimidate us, I began to wonder whether we're still living in America. The Department of Justice has been sent these tapes of election fraud cash exchange for voter registration happening in broad daylight, and we have informed the Department of Justice there are more tapes coming. There will be a new tape dropping every day until someone is arrested or indicted.
There you go. This is how it's done. This is what we have to resort to in order to get something done. You have to go out there. You have to expose it. This is what we did. This is what we're doing. We went out to California. We exposed how much money is spent in order to create the homelessness problem. You got to understand, it's not about fixing homelessness. They need as many as possible. The homeless people are registered voters. The homeless people allow for ballot initiatives to get passed instantly, because when you have hundreds of thousands of homeless people, you just go there and pay them to sign their signatures away. They don't care. They're addicted. They're fried out of their minds. The money that is spent on these shelters that we found goes directly into the pockets of Democrat politicians and organizations that support them. It builds out a massive political machine. They have to have the homeless. The homelessness is not the bug, it's the feature. And more importantly, the homeless count towards the census. In just a moment, we're going to have Congressman Mike Lawyer on the show. The homelessness counts toward the census. They need to pack as many as they possibly can in there in order to stop the bleeding of congressional seats. You want to talk about the real fear in California? It's that. The real fear is the fact that they've run their state into the ground. Any logical person or any person with means has fled. And that means they're going to lose congressional votes. They will lose congressional votes. That's the real game here. We'll talk to the congressman about this in just one moment. The real game here is power. Now, what we were able to find out, our whistleblowers told us that what's going on with the homeless industrial complex is that they are flooding these homeless shelters with criminal aliens, illegals. And they're using those illegals. They're giving them, obviously, goodies and benefits. They're locking them up in these homeless shelters. They live there long term, and they count. The census counts not American citizens, but persons in a district. So they're counting against the census. They're rigging the game. That's what they're really doing for power. It is required. It is a requirement of us to go out and do this because the corporate media will not, ladies and gentlemen. Our show today brought to you by Masa Chips. Masa Chips is the chip of the Johnson household. Obviously, we have a Maha household, a household that loves being healthy. You got to be healthy. You got to be able to walk the streets. You got to be able to move. You got to be able to have like a beating heart. You got to be able to think clearly. The Maha lifestyle is the way to go. It's the way that God intended it. God didn't intend you, obviously, to shove your body full of chemicals. He wanted you to eat corn because he made corn. It grows right out of the ground. Salt occurs naturally, and beef tallow comes straight from the cows, and that's all that Masa chips are. That's why they leave you feeling great, not bloated and dragged down and gross, because you're eating the way that God created. Get ready to give Masa a try. You can do so by going to masachips.com/Benny. Use the code Benny for 25% off your first order. Or you could go to Sprouts Market. Sprouts Supermarket has them on the shelf, ladies and gentlemen. Excited to have Congressman Mike Lawyer on the show again. And maybe he can explain exactly what the game is here in California in rigging these systems in order to retain power, because they're losing it quickly. Welcome the Congressman to the show, live right now. I keep saying your name wrong, Lawler, and I'm sorry about that.
You got it.
I have too much caffeine, and I'm the only guy in the world who has a lawyer I actually like. I love my lawyer, so I think I just roll it all together. So
That's it. It's all good. All good. Thanks for having me, Benny.
Congressman, since you are a member of Congress, you're from, a Republican from New York. It's like remarkable. You're somebody who's constantly fighting redistricting and Democrats, trying to rig, and steal your seat away. I think that's really the game that's going on here. You must know it better than almost anybody. But that's what I think California is trying to do with all of the fraud, with all of the goodies, to try and keep criminal aliens and keep illegals and keep homeless people there as much as possible. They're bleeding population, much like New York is. They're terrified of losing electoral votes and losing power, as New York and California will actually in the next census. Maybe you can talk through that game with us.
Yeah, no question, Benny. When you look at the last few decades, New York and California have seen massive population losses, and with it, electoral power. And you've seen, the last two cycles, New York has lost 2 congressional seats each. So they've lost 4 in just 20 years. And so, many of my colleagues fundamentally believe that, rigging the census is their way to salvage power. And so what they do, part of the reason why states like New York and California are sanctuaries, is because they want illegal immigrants coming to their states. They want them in the state for a few reasons. Number one, the electoral, power that comes with it, because they are counted in the census for the purpose of reapportionment. So it means more congressional seats, especially when you're losing your tax base, and wealthier, Americans are moving to low tax states like Florida or Tennessee or North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas. And so you've seen this kind of surge out of California and New York. And so they've really tried to make it easier for illegal immigrants to come to be part of their communities. In addition, they have allowed illegal immigrants to get government benefits. And they have used them for the purpose of getting more federal dollars and more federal resources. Remember, a lot of the federal dollars are tied to per capita. They're based on population. They're based on need. And so when you surge, the need in a city like New York or a city like Los Angeles, more federal dollars flow. And that's what they've been doing, rigging the system for years. It's why in the Working Families Tax Cut bill, we went after Medicaid fraud. We went after the waste and abuse that you see in the system. A state like New York has the most expansive Medicaid system in the country. They spend 80% more on Medicaid than the average of the other 49 states. It is insane. It is out of control. And that's why Dr. Oz came to New York just 2 weeks ago to start touring facilities and start asking questions. And Kathy Hochul is freaking out about it. Meanwhile, you have the Democratic comptroller, Tom DiNapoli, released a report in New York that talked about New York spending over $1 billion on Medicaid premiums for non-New York State residents. They don't even live in the state, and we're paying out. It is totally insane. And so what is being exposed in California is just par for the course for what we've seen from these states.
I find it remarkable that you just name dropped Kathy Hochul and talking about how many benefit dollars from New York are going out of state, because she's getting dragged this morning. This is a great post. Hochul in 2022 telling New Yorkers, get on a bus, head down to Florida. You don't represent our values. You are not New Yorkers. And now in 2026, we have the clips here, but this is just like the quote. Maybe the first step is to go down to Palm Beach and beg for New Yorkers to come home. Our tax base is gone. Whoa, Congressman.
Kathy Hochul is the dumbest governor in the country. She is feckless. She is inept. She is incompetent. And she has run the state into the ground. Now you have Zohran Mamdani, an avowed socialist, that she's bending the knee to. Mark my words, they're going to raise taxes in this state budget to address New York City's budget disaster. By the way, Benny, New York City now has a budget larger than the state of Florida. It's not just the state of New York that has a budget twice the size of Florida. The city of New York now has a budget larger than the state of Florida. They have increased city spending by $40 billion since Mike Bloomberg left office at the end of 2013. New York State has increased state spending by over $100 billion in 1 decade. The reason New Yorkers are leaving, the reason Californians are leaving, is not because of the weather. It is everything to do with the cost of living and the quality of life. They have allowed these states to be overrun. They have allowed their spending to get out of control. The social safety net, that's what she was talking about in the post, by the way, that you referenced in that interview. She's talking about we need the billionaires to come back so we can pay for our generous social safety net. Listen, we are a generous people, and we want to help those who really need the help. But part of helping them is actually helping them up out of poverty, out of homelessness, into a job. That's why we did work requirements for able-bodied adults on Medicaid without dependent children. We don't want people being stuck in this system. We want them to be able to get the assistance they need to be able to provide for themselves ultimately. Kathy Hochul wants to make a permanent social safety net class solely because they want to keep them dependent on government, they want to stay in power, and they want to increase their electoral power by having a massive social safety net and sanctuary cities.
And now they're begging for the billionaires to come back. Didn't Mamdani just do some type of estate tax now? You can't even leave money to your family anymore. You have no ability to to preserve any wealth in New York? Do they understand what that's going to do?
No, they don't, and that's the fundamental problem. Look, he talking about raising property taxes by 9.5%. That would cripple, the market for homeowners. You look at Southeast Queens, for instance, predominantly black and brown communities that own single-family homes. They would be devastated by this. He's talking about eliminating free street parking. Guess what? The billionaires aren't parking on the streets. They have a garage. Okay, so you're hurting the working class. You're hurting the poor in New York City by eliminating free street parking. He's talking about eliminating property ownership, raising taxes based on your race. This absurdity that we see in New York City right now is designed to hurt the middle class and the working poor. The billionaires and the millionaires are leaving because they can afford to leave. And you keep going at this rate, you keep increasing spending at this rate, you keep increasing the social safety net and allow waste, fraud, and abuse to permeate these programs without any oversight, without any restriction, without any level of reining in these programs. And what you're going to end up with is nobody to pay for these critical programs that do help the people who really do need it.
Yeah. How much of that increase in spending that you just went over in your last answer, how much of that is fraud? That shocked me. Did you say 40 billion after Mike Bloomberg?
They increased citywide spending by 40 billion. It was about a 50% increase from where they were. They were at 80 billion. They're at about 120 billion in total city spending. Not all of it obviously is tied to fraud, but the fact is that the city's gotten worse. All of these programs.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's gotten worse. The city's gotten worse. No question. It's not gotten better. Right.
No. And so ultimately, to me, Benny, this is very simple. The work that is being done by Nick, by James, by you that are exposing these broken systems. What that says to me is government has a responsibility at a federal level and a state level to step in and fix the problem. These systems are put in place to help people who really need it. We are a generous people. We don't want people living out on the streets. During the snowstorm, Zohran Mamdani would not allow the homeless to be taken off the streets and put in homeless shelters. 19 people died because he mandated that they be left out on the streets in the bitter cold. That is shameful. That is absolutely disgraceful. But this is what's happening. The system is failing. It is not doing what it is supposed to do. And we are spending billions upon billions upon billions of dollars without any level of oversight. There needs to be accountability, and there needs to be prosecutions for people who violate federal and state law and steal these funds from the very people who rely on it, whether it's our seniors, whether it's our veterans, whether it's the IDD community, the intellectual and developmentally disabled community. We want to provide these services for the people who need them. These scammers are taking critical funds away from them, and it's shameful.
How are you going to go about that, Congressman? How are you going to go about doing that? I mean, again, we've been banging on about the SAVE Act, but here's another 90-10 issue. Here's another issue that cuts directly in our favor to eliminate fraud. And we'd really like to shine the spotlight back on it because it's as big of a winning issue as voter ID. They're both fraud, obviously. And it's both from the same communities, right?
Well, look, the president has appointed the vice president, J.D. Vance, to oversee a fraud commission. You have Dr. Oz and CMS actually cracking down and demanding answers from New York, from California, from Minnesota, to actually start getting the information they need to root this out and implement the changes that we made in the Working Families Tax Cut bill to require eligibility verification, citizenship verification, work requirements for able-bodied adults without dependent children, so that Medicaid, for instance, is focused on the people who really need it. Single moms with young children, our seniors who are, below the poverty level, the IDD community. We want to make sure that anybody with a disability that needs this support, that they have it. But this system, the Medicaid system in particular, has grown exponentially, especially under Joe Biden. It is unsustainable at the rates that it was going. And so we're reining it in. We're demanding answers. Even Democrats like Tom DiNapoli, as I say, putting out a report exposing the fraud in New York, saying we have a problem here. We're paying for people who don't live in our state. That's how corrupt the system has become. And so it's really incumbent on Congress and the administration to crack down on these states. And it's also incumbent on state legislators to start asking questions and demanding answers from these governors and how their money is being spent at a state level, because a lot of these programs are both federal and state funded.
Do you think that they'll get away with it? The census is coming up. I mean, I don't know exactly when they start counting heads, but the 2030 is the implementation of the census, and 2030 is a new map. So I'd assume that the census would take place then in 2028, right?
You'll have the census start being counted in advance of 2030. You'll get the 2030 census numbers, and then obviously the redistricting process will take place heading into 2032, which will be another presidential election year by that point. But we deal with this every 10 years. President Trump obviously was in control of the census in 2018, 2019. Heading into 2020, which was critical to actually have a fair and honest accounting. If the Democrats win in 2028, they will be in charge of the census, and they will do everything they can to make sure that New York and California, that they are counting every illegal, they are counting everybody that is homeless out on the streets. They will do everything in their power to make sure that they keep congressional seats in New York and California, even if they really should not be getting them, especially because of illegal immigrants. I have a bill that would prevent illegals from being counted for the purpose of reapportionment. They should not count towards redistricting, period.
So why is that even remotely controversial? I'm aware of how the Constitution, I'm aware of how the original documents are written to count peoples and not citizens. I get why they wrote it hundreds of years ago like that. It seems like that in the modern day, that's sort of like an archaic slavery holdover, right, for southern states. Now that's been moved clearly to benefit states that have illegal criminal aliens as much as possible. Seems like it shouldn't be controversial.
But listen, again, to get a full count, on the census, great, count everybody. But for the purpose of reapportionment, the only people that should be counted are citizens and lawful immigrants. Somebody who's here illegally should not be counted. And that is the problem with New York and California. They have rigged the system. They've done it for years. The only reason this is controversial is because Democrats know that if this were to change, if illegals were not counted in the census, it would be lights out in some of these states when it comes to their electoral power. And that's why they are so opposed to it. That's why Chuck Schumer is screaming about the Save America Act and saying that it's the most disastrous legislation ever. Chuck Schumer is the biggest jackass in America. He is so dishonest. It is disgraceful that Chuck Schumer is the United States Senator from New York. He's been in elected office since 1975. He was first elected during Watergate in 1974. Chuck Schumer has never held a job outside of elected office. First the state assembly, then the United States House of Representatives, now the U.S. Senate. He is disgraceful and disgusting, and he needs to go home.
He's clearly going to go home to a home, hopefully, that's not in Palm Beach. I find it remarkable how it's like, how Pelosi is buying property in Florida, right? But also to a home in New York that's really degraded. We have this map here that shows the potential census count for New York, and New York losing 2, 3, maybe seats. You said that New York's been losing seats, 2, every couple of census. California, all red states, man. All red states getting just all blue states getting gutted. They're red on the map here because they're losing seats. And then all red states are gaining seats.
But look at that map, and you see Texas and Florida in particular picking up 8 seats. That means a 16-vote swing on electoral votes right there, because they're gaining them from blue states. And you can see heading into 2032 presidential election, Democrats are in real trouble when it comes to the Electoral College and when it comes to the House of Representatives. And you look at, the voting rights case that's before the Supreme Court, that's going to result in probably another 19 seats that are going to move away from Democrats. So you're talking upwards, potentially when all is said and done, of 25 to 30 seats that are going to shift from Democrat to Republican over the next, 6 years. And that is going to be a tremendous shift in power away from these blue states, especially on the coast. And that's why they are fighting so hard against any type of reform or oversight or reining in of these sanctuary policies that have allowed illegal immigrants to flood their states, because they know it's the only way they are keeping electoral power.
Man, it's dark. It's dark, man. It's like completely sinister. And we really pray that Republicans can get their act together and realize that we are sitting on the precipice kind of like the election that sort of pivots the country. I know we always say this, it's always like this every election, but nobody really thought about that with Mitt Romney, right? Like nobody really thought that, Mitt Romney is like, it's going to change, it's either Mitt Romney, 1,000 years of darkness or light. Like nobody really thought that. He's kind of like different shades of Barack Obama. But now it is true. Like we know what Democrats are going to do if they get power again. They've been totally transparent about it. And
they'll eliminate the filibuster if they take the Senate. There's no question about that. They tried to do it last Congress when they had control. Sinema and Manchin were the only things standing in their way. They will eliminate the filibuster and just try to jam through everything they can the next time they have the trifecta. So look, these elections matter. The margins are tight, especially in the House right now. The map is what it is. There's only about 30 seats that are actually competitive. Mine's one of them. And that's just a reality of the map.
It's going to be, I think that over the course of the next couple of years, that reality is going to be just like painfully reflected to Democrats who betrayed their states. You can see all the people leaving Illinois and California and New York. I just hope that it happens quickly enough that we can get that it can't be rigged. They can't rig it. But I guess we'll see. You're right about what happened in 2020. That's crazy, man, that they were able to like pull one over. DeSantis keeps banging on about how many seats they stole from Florida. And they did. Like the math totally works out. They straight up stole congressional seats from Florida.
No, they could have lost even more in New York and California, especially if illegals weren't counted.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep hitting the bricks and keep telling as many people as possible, like, stop counting illegals in the census and for the apportionment. Thank you, Congressman. What is the name of your bill?
It's a bill that's focused on ending, the partisan gerrymandering, but it also ends the counting of illegal immigrants in the census. I think we need some reforms. You need to get this insanity to stop, but the illegals being counted in the census really needs to stop for the purpose of reapportionment.
Is there a name of the bill that we can like start hitting online?
We'll get it for you.
Okay.
I forget it off the top of my head, but we'll get the bill for you. Oh, there it is. The Fair Map Act. There it is.
Okay.
You pulled it up.
Fair Map Act, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Make sure that you are fighting as hard as you can in this moment. Don't black pill. Don't doom. That's exactly what they want you to do. They want to break up MAGA. It's time to support the people who are fighting for us. Go ahead and follow Congressman Mike Lawler. And man, good luck in your race. One of the only 30. There are not that many competitive seats out there, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Benny.
All right. Godspeed, Congressman.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. It's an exciting moment. Obviously, something that we are waiting on is James O'Keefe will be joining our show in just one moment to talk further California Fraud. Why do we care about these things? We care because we care about our fellow Americans. We care about our own children, my own children. I have 4 young, beautiful children. I want to leave them a safe and functional and prosperous country. I do not want to abandon them and their birthright, which is this nation, to bankruptcy and servitude to the third world. They don't deserve that. I won't allow it. I'll fight with every last dying breath in my body to do it. It's the driving motivation of this program. If you want more Americans and a brighter American future, I encourage you to support Preborn. Preborn is a profoundly wonderful organization that supplies free ultrasounds to mothers who may be in distress. Abortion moves fast. It's an evil that is used as a high-pressure tactic in certain vulnerable communities in order to massacre Americans. They've killed upwards of 80 million Americans through abortion. Imagine what a wonderful country we could have if we had more people, more vibrancy, more actual America, instead of like the refuse of the third world brought here, if we had like more American families, and that's what we want. Abortion kills an American family. It kills the heart of a mother. And that's something that we want to reverse. Preborn Network Clinics gives free ultrasounds to young mothers, young expectant mothers, with compassion, without pressure, for clarity about the life growing inside of her, real support to welcome the baby, and the hope of the gospel. As a Preborn celebrates 20 years of saving babies, there's a moment right now they can help save countless lives for years to come. An ultrasound doesn't just show a picture, it introduces a mother to her child. And many clinics don't have one, nor do they want one, because they understand how effective it is. So join Preborn in their urgent goal to put an ultrasound machine in every clinic across America. If you have the means, consider a tax-deductible gift today to Preborn. Donate and dial pound 250, say the word baby. That's pound 250, say the word baby, or visit preborn.com/Benny. That's preborn.com/Benny. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we will be having James O'Keefe to jump on the program to talk about the most devastating expose we've seen in quite a while. Cam Higbee is also on the case. Caught bribing homeless people. James broke this story. James broke the story that there is just a massive cash for Ballot scam. He did so by disguising himself and rolling through Skid Row in one of the most repulsive and disgusting places I have ever been. And I hate going there. I've been there 3, 4, 5 times over the past couple of years. I just have to go back because it's just such a constant reflection of how broken the California spirit is, that you could just allow a place like this to exist. It's filthy. It smells of rotting flesh. I mean, Klein is like the smells. It's like just piss and human decay. It's huge neighborhoods just filled with homelessness in California, in the streets, open drug abuse. And James deserves major credit for rolling through there and uncovering more video just to like undergird what James has uncovered here. More bribery of homeless people. So you're taking advantage of people that are strung out of their mind, mentally ill, and they're using them for ballots and votes. Here we go.
They were also encouraging the homeless to just make up random addresses, such as Pinocchio Lane.
What do I put as my address?
Yeah, just put up. You live on Pinocchio Lane?
Huh? You can just take it out.
good.
This woman, named Brenda Brown, acknowledges that if the person signing isn't a registered voter, she won't get paid $7 for the signature.
No, you have to do this. Is this additional money? No, because you haven't registered, I need to register you so I can get paid too. I'm paying you guys, I need to get paid.
Brenda Brown also has a stack of voter registration forms so she can get the homeless people to first register to vote.
I'm paying you guys, I need to get paid.
The petition Brown then hands cash money to the homeless person, not only for signing the California Ballot Initiative, but also as payment for them to register to vote. That is a federal felony, 52 U.S.C. 10307. Whoever knowingly or willfully pays or offers to pay or accepts payment for registration to vote shall be fined not more than $10,000 and imprisoned not more than 5 years. You can.
So James O'Keefe exposing this. Many would say, wow, well, James, maybe, it's like James's critics would say, like, how, can you really trust this guy? Is his reporting solid? Well, a couple of things here. One, the state of California and the city of Los Angeles have all come out, like, James really caught him on this one. They're out freaking out. They're losing their minds, making statement after statement after statement about how illegal this is and how they're going to investigate it. I've never seen this before in my life. And anything that any of James's work, I've never seen the Democrats in charge come screaming out of the gate saying how illegal these operations were and how they got us. It's been a remarkable series of statements from Gavin Newsom's office all the way through the Los Angeles city government. But then also it's replicatable. And this is what's so critically important about James's work here, and James joining us here in just a few seconds. It's replicatable. Cam Higbee, another independent journalist, went through Skid Row and did the exact same thing. So it's not like James caught one bad person on one bad day. Other independent journalists are able to go out and prove the same. Here we go. Just a real short segment of what Cam was able to build out.
Came across another individual petitioning for signatures. He insisted he wasn't paying anybody, but it would turn out he's not being entirely honest.
Are you guys doing petition signatures for cigarettes?
No.
No? Oh, okay. Do you know where that is? Oh, okay. Is it voter registration?
No.
No? What is it?
Huh?
What is it?
Just petitions, but not for cigarettes. They're just doing it for free.
Oh, really? Okay. What are the petitions?
Huh?
What are the petitions?
I don't even know what they're for.
This person conveniently suggests that he doesn't even know what the petitions are for and that he's not paying people to sign them. They're just doing it for free. But that can't be true, because I caught this exact same individual the very next day in the exact same spot with a group of petitioners paying people to sign these same ballot initiatives.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you one. What's that for? They're gonna pay you? How much? But what's that for?
That there is another California ballot initiative petition. Getting enough signatures on this petition will put a law directly on the ballot and into the hands of the people to vote for. It completely bypasses both the governor and the legislature. Signing it effectively acts as a vote to put the law on the ballot. Here we are in the exact same group of petitioners. You have one of them accepting a clipboard with a signed petition.
Incredible. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, James O'Keefe is set and ready to rock. He has exposed this. He says he has so much more locked and loaded and in the chamber. Welcome the legend, James O'Keefe, to the show live right now.
Benny.
Hi. James, welcome back. Goodness.
Great recap there. Thank you for highlighting Cam Higbee's work. And there's another one about to come out from muckraker.com, Anthony Rubin. Every day, we're going to release a video until somebody is arrested. I'm not exaggerating. And I like how you highlighted that the Governor Newsom statement is actually positive towards me. He said, we need to arrest people. What do you think about that?
I can't believe it. I've never seen anything like it. Every single time you do one of these reports, Nick Shirley was just on, like, the governor's attacking him. The governor attacks me, right, when we go out there. And I think we're actually beating him into submission. I think that's what's actually happening here. They're realizing that it's untenable. And here's Gavin Newsom's statement. If you don't mind, I'm just going to read it really quickly here. The alleged activity is a felony in California. Anybody caught engaging in this activity is investigated and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Wait a second. Gavin Newsom is backing up James O'Keefe?
I think it's, if I may, I think there's a reason why here. And you saw it in Cam Higbee's reporting and ours. You actually see the cash money given to the homeless person. Yes. Most people talk about stuff, and it's great stuff they talk about, and it's great. But in this video, your audience may not know this. It's a federal crime to pay someone
to register them to vote. You can't give them drugs, cigarettes, or money. And I don't think this has ever been actually captured on video. There's one instance in 2019 where the LA DA prosecuted, but there was no videotapes. But in this video, we captured it 28 times over the course of a few days. That means it's happening tens, if not hundreds of thousands of times. So they're like, whoa. And, you know, and Cam Higby's video showed the same thing. Anthony Rubin's video is about to show the same thing. I think Savannah Hernandez is doing something on this. I think there's more citizen journalists. There it is, the cash money. You can see it right there. It's rare that you actually capture the crime on video where it's not circumstantial evidence. It's not hearsay. So I also, Benny, have a statement from the United States Attorney in California. It's a chief federal prosecutor. This is the Department of Justice saying, I want to assure. Now, remember, the DOJ can't talk about what they're doing usually, but this is Bill Asalia, quote, I want to assure that we will aggressively pursue this, anyone violating federal law, and they're in the process of interviewing our journalists right now.
We have the tweet. We'll pop it up in just one moment. We actually have it in our show notes. This is yes, Los Angeles District Attorney. Oh no, this is the District Attorney spokesperson. But yeah, Bill Asalia is the federal attorney,
correct,
for Los Angeles, and he posted this on X. It's in the show notes, Danny, from yesterday. Okay, so we went there. We went to California in January, and we exposed the homeless industrial complex for creating more homeless people. And I know it seemed a little crazy at the time because it's it seems like such a perverse incentive and such the inverse of what anybody would want. Who wants more homeless people? But when we were out in California, and every single data and metric, James, shows that the billions of dollars that they're spending is actually creating as many homeless people as humanly possible, and then pushing them into these small, compact, distilled areas. And we said the reason they're doing this is clearly because they need, one, to rig the Electoral College, because the census counts numbers of peoples in districts and, not citizens. And then two, this allows them to have very quick election mechanisms that they can rig, whether it's voter fraud, and we exposed toilets that had registered voters at it. We found a toilet that had 30 registered people at it, or ballot initiatives. But we didn't catch it on camera. What you've done here is complete the circle. You're exactly right. This is why it's so profound. Because as much as we can say this is happening, when you get it on tape, there's no way to run away from that.
You've done great reporting, and you've added, Benny, I saw your story, and it added a lot of additional context. These NGOs, these homeless industrial complex, gets hundreds of millions of dollars from the state. The one that we saw was Weingart. That was on Skid Row.
Yes.
They have $800 million. It's wild. And in the video, I'm pretending to be a homeless person. The guy comes out of Weingart wearing his little blue NGO vest. And he's like, I'm with the LAPD. Get out of here. He pretends to be the police to intimidate me. But that's its own bit. There's the guy right there with the blue vest. That's its own bit of surrealness. But to your point, Benny, and this is something that the state and the federal government is asking me. It makes all the difference when you capture the crime on tape as it's happening. And I encourage the journalists. Now, I'm doing something new here, Benny. I've never done this before. We're calling it the Justice League, like the Citizen Journalism Justice League. They don't work for me, and I don't work for them. We're going to be launching a video each day, every day, showing this exact same thing until somebody is arrested. That's today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to release one video a day showing an illegal federal and state crime until somebody gets arrested. And because I know what your audience, I can't see the comments right now, but I know what they're all thinking. No one's going to be held accountable. No. Someone will be held accountable. And let me tell you something. If you keep, pardon me for being direct, bitching and whining that nobody's held accountable, then nobody will be held accountable. But if you make it happen, if you go out in the field like Benny did and Anthony Rubin did and Cam Higby did and James O'Keefe did, and you can go to Skid Row, you know how to use your phone. They're doing it in broad daylight, Benny. They're not even hiding this. Do you know that? Go out there and capture it on video. We're calling it the Justice League. I think the future is not in organizations and institutions. I think it's an individual citizen journalist like Nick, like Cam Higbee, out there on their own. That's the future of journalism, not in organizational newsrooms, because they just won't do the work. So at 1 o'clock, Anthony Rubin is going to release another videotape. And I am confident that people are going to get prosecuted. I'm confident.
How widespread do you think this is in California? The tell here for me, James, is the governor freaking out.
Yes.
Like, why wouldn't he just like make a meme of you and say, oh, it's stupid James O'Keefe, right? Like, why isn't he in a pimp costume, right? Like that's what I was expecting. The reaction here, the tell is they're freaking out.
They're freaking out because, again, it's the cash exchange, the proverbial briefcase full of money being handed to the homeless person by the petitioner, by these NGO affiliates, is on camera. It makes all the difference in the world that it's not circumstantial evidence. We've been hearing for 5 years, election fraud, voter fraud, there's so much fraud, but you never actually see it happen. You hear about it. There's sort of statistical confidence intervals and probability things. No. This is different. And the other thing is what we have coming out is much worse. For example, there was a citizen in San Francisco that they actually gave the names of voters for them to vote in their names. Well, that's what's coming next. So I think Newsom's statement, he says they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I think Governor Newsom on this one might actually have to do the right thing because he wants to run for president, right? He wants to be shown that this is just too much. And this is a very serious thing. If they're giving voters names to vote in their names, and they're pulling that from a DMV website, hint, hint, that's what's coming next, then it's too far gone. So we're very excited to work alongside Governor Newsom and the Los Angeles District Attorney. By the way, the LADA reached out to me. The Los Angeles District Attorney has reached out to us and is coordinating with us to prosecute these people. You can't make this stuff up. I saw the attack against Nick Shirley. I don't know why they did that with him, but we're working with him now.
Well, I mean, it's, because it's circumstantial. The crimes that Nick Shirley captures is like, look at this rundown dump. They're wasting taxpayer dollars. And then when here's the toilet, I'm like, look at this toilet. It has 30 people registered at it. Here's the paperwork. Look at all these people registered to this porta-john. But they fact check me. They come out and attack me because they're like, nope, it's legal actually to register people to a porta-john or to a street sign or to a Burger King parking lot. They straight up said it. But what you're talking about is federal law. And there's no way they're going to get around that.
Just as I'm sitting here, the California Secretary of State just emailed us. They want to speak to my reporters and my attorney. Now, I get in the past, I've been doing this for 20 years. They'll try to prosecute me, right? That's what your audience is thinking.
Of course.
I actually don't believe that here. I just think it will create a constitutional crisis if they first of all, I'm willing to be arrested. Martyr me, please. That's only going to help the story. Maybe we're already in a constitutional crisis. I think most of you would agree with that. But I think you're right, Benny. I think I would encourage citizen journalists who are watching, and everyone's a citizen journalist these days. What would happen if we all descended upon Skid Row? I'm going there, tomorrow, by the way.
Wow.
And we all just put our iPhones out and captured the evidence. It makes all the difference in the world when you capture that cash exchange on tape. So the Secretary of State is emailing me right now. They want to talk to my attorney, want to talk to us, and about this latest developing news here out of California that people are being given cash money to register to vote, which is a federal crime and a state crime. And how widespread is it, Benny? It appears to be happening tens, if not hundreds of thousands of times in broad daylight.
I don't want to get ahead of your reporting, but since you did a teaser perhaps you could tell our audience a little bit more about what comes next. Did I get this right? In San Francisco, not only are they telling people, not only are they paying people to register and getting people to register in an illegal breaking federal law, but then they're telling them how to vote. Did I get that right, James?
That's correct. In San Francisco, JJ was the person's name. It's never the news networks that capture this. It's always randos with their phones in broad daylight. JJ got them giving the petitioners were giving the homeless names to vote in the name of, which is many, many crimes, multiple federal crimes, multiple state crimes. They were pulling registered voters and saying, please vote for the petition in the name of this registered voter, because it's easier for them to do that than to get them to register to vote, because many of these homeless don't have addresses and it's hard to ascertain. So that is what is coming next. And it's so shocking. I keep saying this is the biggest story I ever did, but that's because we keep outdoing our previous reporting. That, if I got to go stand, if I got to go stand in the parking lot where these law enforcement people live and work, I will do that. I will investigate the prosecutors. And I think that's why Newsom is putting out the statement he's putting out. I think because he knows he's going to have to do something on this. So stay tuned for that. And yes, they are giving homeless people the names of voters that they should vote in the name of, as well as paying them cash to register to vote.
I want to know if you agree with my contention here, which was something that I didn't head out to California to prove, but it just became evident. It became so clear, and that I saw on the ground what the actual purpose of the homeless industrial complex is, and what the purpose of the welfare fraud is, what the purpose of the hospice fraud is, and then what you came over and captured, which is this. This map shows that California is set to lose a devastating number of electoral college votes. Their population is fleeing, their state is collapsing. And it seems like all of it points toward shoving as much refuse, as many homeless or illegals into the state as possible in order to stave off the devastation, which is the loss of power for the state of California through the Electoral College, through federal funding, and to simply then use those people it's very hard to convince a person of rational mind to vote for you because they can think critically, because they're of right mind. If somebody's on drugs and they just need another cigarette, that signature is as good as the person in the suburbs, right? That you actually, it's very low gate threshold in order to get your signature, right? And it all sort of bends back to this. And I wonder if you agree with that contention, because most rational people, James, is be why would you do this to this beautiful state? Why would you ever want to live like this? Why would you allow it? I live in Florida, bro. I know that you're in Florida day and night. I'm not sure if you live in Florida, but
I do now.
Okay. You don't see homeless people. You don't see this. Maybe one or two, they're gone by the afternoon. You don't see these problems. It's clearly a choice that California is making. And that's the only conclusion I could come up with. They're making that choice for power. Your take?
Well, I have a different take. I guess it's all about money. I've learned in my life after reporting and doing this investigative gonzo journalism for 20 years, it really just comes down to the old adage of follow the money. And I looked at the 990 for this Weingard Center, and they have over $800 million in money. It's always about money. Anybody who thinks it's not about money, I think it shows me how foolish and naive even good people can sometimes be if you think that people are governed by virtue instead of financial incentives. So I look at the tax return for the homeless industrial complex. There's an active federal investigation by Bill Asalia, that's the lead prosecutor for California, because some guy, the real estate executive, faked documentation to buy a nursing home for $11 million, then quickly sold it to Weingart for $27 million, which used government money to fund the acquisition and eventual conversion to homeless housing. And then Lasha is this other group that gives all the money to Weingart. So it's always about hundreds of millions of dollars coming from taxpayers as more and more people work for the state, receive their incomes from the state, So if you try to hold them accountable or take away the money, you're taking away people's incomes. And that's really what's happened. The Leviathan just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and there's no accountability. And anybody who goes after them gets prosecuted. Like me, I've been prosecuted. And if I were to poll your audience, who's going to get arrested, them or me? Most of your audience probably assume that I'm the one that's going to be arrested. So that's my take. And by the way, we looked at the Schedule J on the tax return for executive compensation for the Weingart Center. They pay their executives $600,000 a year for a nonprofit organization that receives hundreds of millions of dollars from the state. And they've failed their audits deadlines 21 times, 8 negative findings. And one of the Weingart's primary funding sources, the Los Angeles Housing Authority, and the guy from the Los Angeles Housing Authority pretended to be the LAPD in order to intimidate me. So it's like a Saturday Night Live sketch. If I wrote this shit, Netflix would laugh at me. And it's happening in broad daylight, no hidden cameras, take out your iPhone. So what's the solution? Benny, full circle. The solution is to create a Justice League of citizen journalists every day. Stop bitching, stop whining, join the Justice League, go out in the field with your iPhone, go to Skid Row. I understand you're scary, but let's expose it and force Governor Newsom to do the right thing. And I believe that he will.
Very quickly here, have you been asked to be on the anti-fraud task force from J.D. Vance?
No, but I reached out to him. I reached out to him. I don't have his direct contact, but I reached out to someone with his team. And if he's watching this, I would love to help with that. It's a great idea. I mean, they're going to have to start arresting somebody. Someone's going to have to get arrested.
Yes,
other
right?
than me. Other than me. By the way, I've been arrested twice by the FBI, previous administration. But I would love to work with them. And if they're watching this, let me know how I can help, is I guess how I would position it.
Okay. James, I'll call you today because I think we could put something together, honestly.
Look forward to hearing from you.
Yes. The final bit that is missing here are the arrests. And I cannot emphasize it enough. Like, we have to keep the pressure on this. It is a 90-10 issue. Everyone's talking about the SAVE Act. We love the SAVE Act. We've done 100,000 shows on the SAVE Act. But this is the solving of fraud is another 90-10 issue. And the only people that are in favor of the fraud are the fraudsters. That's it. The rest of America is on our side, James.
I look forward to working with you, Benny. And as far as the administration is concerned, President Trump, Attorney General Bondi, let me know how I can help. Let me know what needs to be exposed to hold people accountable, and I'll be there and do it. I'll do it.
Yes, that's right. This could be your superpower. I love the Justice League. I mean, we know the guys who own Warner Brothers now, so hopefully we don't get sued over that one.
Well, we're calling it Citizen Justice League. So hopefully that doesn't violate any trademark issues. Lord knows I have enough lawsuits to deal with.
Everyone follow James. He's got millions and millions and millions of followers. Of course you already follow James, but if you don't, you're crazy. Get in there. 3.5 million subscribers. And man, let's rock and roll. I'm feeling good. Feeling loose. Amazing timeline. Amazing timeline. I just want to say it one more time. Gavin Newsom is working with James O'Keefe to stop fraud. Wow.
That's right. That is a correct statement. That is a factually correct statement. And stay tuned for more. It's going to get worse. Anthony Rubin's video is in 1 hour. Stay tuned.
Here we go. Staying tuned. Thank you, James. Godspeed.
Godspeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have rolled right into a live President Trump press conference at the White House with Sinead Takachi. Said that name right. Couldn't say Mike Lawler right, but I could say Sinead Takachi, who is the Japanese Prime Minister. Let's head on in here and listen live. She just arrived.
In addition, Japan condemns Iran's actions such as attacking the neighboring region and also the de facto or effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz. As a matter of fact, my fellow minister, Minister Motegi, Foreign Minister Motegi, also had the direct exchange with the Iranian foreign minister and urged Iran to stop such activities.
Yeah, you let me know. You can let me know.
とにかく今、中東だけじゃなくてインド太平洋の安全保障環境も大変厳しい中にあります。そんな中でドナルドが日本に深い信頼を寄せてくれて、揺るぎない、同盟にコミットメントしてくれていることに感謝をいたしております。
And also the security environment in the Indo-Pacific region is also becoming increasingly severe. Donald, you have shown deep trust in Japan and also the unwavering commitment to the Japan-US alliance. Once again, thank you very much for that.
今日は日本とアメリカが共に強く豊かになっていくための話し合いをしたいと思っています。
And today, I look forward to having a discussion on how we can cooperate to make our two nations, both Japan and the United States, stronger and more prosperous.
それから世界のエネルギーマーケットを落ち着かせるための提案も持ってまいりました。
And I also brought specific proposals to calm down the global energy market.
この後、主に、経済安全保障、重要鉱物ですが、エネルギーに関する協力、そしてお互いに強い経済を作るための、成長のための話し合い、経済成長のための話し合いをしたいと思っています。Thank you very much.
So today, I really look forward to having our discussion, particularly focusing on our collaboration in economic security in the important areas such as energy and rare earth minerals. And also, I look forward to discussing with you how we can make our two economies stronger moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And you're doing a great job. Again, congratulations on the biggest win in the history of Japan. That's not bad. That's a pretty long history. That's a large nation with with a great reputation, but it's a tremendous victory. Congratulations to everybody. Very proud of you. Very proud of you. We've become friends, and I'm very proud of the job you've done. It's not easy. Any questions, please?
Mr. President, are you fully satisfied with the level of support that you're getting from Japan on Iran, including around the minesweepers?
Well, we're going to be speaking about it today. Go ahead, you can go.
日本から、機雷兵などの支援に関して、その点について今の状況に満足していらっしゃいますか？
We're going to be speaking about it today. We've had tremendous support and relationship with Japan on everything. And I believe that based on statements that were given to us yesterday, the day before yesterday, having to do with Japan, they are really stepping up to the plate. Yes.
非常に日本の方が素晴らしい支援を受けていると思います。おとといのコメントから、日本からはそれに対して非常に力強いメッセージを得ていると私は思っています。
Unlike NATO.
NATO とは全く違いますね。
Please.
Mr. President, do you intend to lift sanctions on Iranian oil, and do you intend to potentially put U.S. troops or more troops in the region?
No, I'm not putting troops anywhere. If I were, I certainly wouldn't tell you. But I'm not putting troops, and we will do whatever is necessary to keep the price as low. I actually thought when I did this, look, the Dow just hit 50,000 a couple of weeks ago. They said that couldn't happen for 4 years. It wouldn't happen in my term. It's such an outrageous thing because I said it would happen. I didn't know it was going to happen that fast, but it just hit 50,000, and we did that in 1 year, not 4. S&P had just hit 7,000. They said that was even more impossible than the Dow hitting 50. And we did that in 1 year. So it's all done. Everything was going great. The economy was great. Oil prices were very low. Gasoline was dropping to, we had $1.99, $1.85. We had great everything. And I saw what was happening in Iran. And I said, I hate to make this excursion, but we're going to have to do it. And I actually thought the numbers would be worse. I thought that it would go up more than it did. But we're doing this excursion, and when it's completed, we're going to have a much safer world. And the Prime Minister agrees with me on this. He considers it to be terrible what Iran did. I think every country does, just about every country does. Iran is a serious threat to the world, to the Middle East and to the world. And everybody agrees with me. I think virtually every country agrees with me on that. So I wanted to put out that fire. And I said, if we do that, oil prices will go up, the economy will go down a little bit. I thought it would be worse, much worse, actually. I thought there was a chance it could be much worse. It's not bad, and it's going to be over with pretty soon. We've obliterated the Navy. We've obliterated just about everything there is to obliterate, including leadership. The Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft equipment is gone. We're flying wherever we want, Pete. We have nobody even shooting at us. They have, and as you know, their leadership is gone. Their leaders are gone. They pick new leaders, they're gone. They pick new leaders, they're gone. And now they're looking for new leaders again. We can take out the island anytime we want. I call it the little oil island that sits there, so totally unprotected. We've taken out everything but the pipes. We left the pipes because to rebuild the pipes would take years for them to do. But I would say we are substantially ahead of schedule. And I had to do this. I call it an excursion. I had to take this little excursion and do something that no other president had the courage to do. And everybody wanted to do it, but they never had the courage to do. And I don't blame them. I'm not blaming them. It was left to me, and we've done a great job. Our military is incredible. We have an incredible military. We have the strongest military in the world by far. We have the greatest equipment in the world by far. In fact, Japan buys our equipment, buys a lot of it, and we're honored by that. And that's one of the things we'll be talking. They want to buy a lot of the military equipment. So it's just an honor to have the Prime Minister. We've had a tremendous relationship. Okay.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
I think she's going to have to go first before you. Is that okay? Do you understand? It's very good, I tell you. I mean, it's so nice that we don't have to sit. No, it's very good. I haven't picked up your language, so the next time you come, I'll have your language mastered. All right, go ahead.
If the war is almost over, why is the Pentagon going to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion?
Well, we're asking for a lot of reasons beyond even what we're talking about in Iran. This is a very volatile world, and the military equipment, the power of some of this weaponry is unthinkable. You don't even want to know about it. Oh, you could end this thing in 2 seconds if you wanted to, but we are being very judicious. What we want to do, don't forget, Biden gave away, I rebuilt the military my first term. Biden gave away so stupidly to Afghanistan a lot. He didn't want to move it. He was too lazy, too stupid to move it. But it was a very small amount. It was a lot, but it was very small relative to what I purchased and what I built. We want to have vast amounts of ammunition, which we have right now. We have a lot of ammunition, but it was taken down by giving so much to Ukraine. They gave so much. Biden gave $350 billion worth of cash and military equipment to Ukraine, and he didn't rebuild anything. Fortunately, we have a lot. We have a tremendous, unlimited supply of what you'd call middle and upper middle armaments and military equipment, munitions, armaments, but munitions in particular. At the high end, we have a lot, but we're preserving it. We don't really need it, but we're building. Our manufacturers of military equipment are building at a level they've never seen before. They've never done before. Pete's in charge of it with all of us, really. But Pete's been very, very strong on it. The general and Pete, myself, the whole group. And Raytheon is building 4 factories. Lockheed is building 5 or 6 factories, and they're building them fast. Because we had a very tough meeting with them. They were going out and buying back stock for $51 billion in one case. They spent $51 billion buying back stock. Now they're not allowed to do that. And they are now building a tremendous, there's never been anything like it, what's taking place right now. So we're in very good shape, but we want to be in the best shape we've ever been in. We were that, when I rebuilt the military, we were in great shape, and then Biden blew it, and he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. And if you listen to the Democrats, they don't even want to have a military. Now you see how important it is. But we have the strongest military in the world. We have the best equipment. We make by far the best equipment. The other night, they had 114 rockets shot at a certain location. And out of 100 highly sophisticated rockets, out of 114 sophisticated rockets, every single one of them was shot down with our equipment, all our equipment. It's amazing, actually, how good it is. So we want to be sure, and it's a small price to pay to make sure that we stay tippy top.
Mr. President, can I ask about the Treasury Secretary? Thank you, Mr. President. The Treasury Secretary this morning said there were defections among Iranian leadership. Are you aware of that? And is there anybody the U.S. can work with as a leader going forward?
Well, we have a man named the Treasury Secretary here, so maybe maybe he wants to discuss it. Does anybody know? Do you know who he is? Central Casting.
Yeah. So as we are seeing the defections at all levels as they're starting to sense what's going on with the regime. It doesn't get reported here in the U.S. very well, but we are trouncing them from the air, and the regime will probably collapse within itself. At Treasury, we've seen where they've wired their money out of the country. We're coming for that. We're going to get it back to the Iranian people.
And are you seeing defections?
Yes, sir.
Israel.
There's a lot of military defections also. You have a lot of military defections in Iran. I don't blame them.
Thank you, Mr. President. Have you talked to Prime Minister Netanyahu about attacking the oil and gas fields?
Yeah, I did. I told him, don't do that. And he won't do that. We didn't discuss. We do, we're independent, we get along great. It's coordinated, but on occasion he'll do something, and if I don't like it, and so we're not doing that anymore.
And the last one, if I could, the Fed chairman told me yesterday that he plans to stay until a new Fed chairman is confirmed. And he also plans to stay on the board until the investigation into the Federal Reserve is done.
Well, he's under investigation because he's building a building for hundreds of billions of dollars more than it's supposed to cost. The building you see over there is under budget and ahead of schedule. That's the ballroom. The ballroom is a much bigger building. It's a much more complex building than what he's doing, and it's at a fraction of the cost. And something is going on, whether it's contractors. That's what I do best in the world. I build great buildings. I've always done it, and I build them under budget and ahead of schedule. They could have $4 billion. This is a renovation job for $4 billion. And if you look at the building, it's not even, I don't know if Kevin Warsh is ever going to be able to move into it. It's been under construction for years. It's the most expensive building ever built. Now, I know it's grossly incompetent because I happen to think he's grossly incompetent. Today, certainly you should be lowering interest rates, all right? Certainly, who would not lower them? But he's stubborn, and he's got Trump derangement syndrome. But a lot of people have that, it's not a curable disease. But he's also building, he should be lowering rates immediately. But he won't do that because he's a stubborn, incompetent person. And that's a bad thing. When you're stubborn and incompetent, I think it's the worst combination. And he's also not a smart person. But he's building a complex over there that's under his jurisdiction. He started it, and it's out of control. It's billions of dollars for a little building. I could have done that building and made it beautiful for $25 million. $25 million, and it would have been beautiful. Look what I've done at the White House, fixing it up. And I mean, the place was in bad shape. You see the floors and everything. It was in bad shape. I could have made that building beautiful for $25 million. They're spending $4 billion. All right. So there is criminality. Maybe it's with the contractor, but because I know more about contractors than any human being maybe that's ever lived. But that contractor is a very rich man. Whoever the contractor is, and we know, but whoever the contractor is an extremely rich man. He's going to make, he could make billions of dollars. I'm hearing numbers from $3 to $4 billion. That would make it the most expensive building on a square foot basis ever built in history. And you're not even building a building, it's a renovation. The exterior skin is staying, the steel is staying, the structure. So all I want to do is bring out to the public that this guy is an incompetent. He's a very incompetent guy. And he may be a dishonest guy, but somebody's dishonest because there's no way that building could be $3 to $4 billion.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
Please.
Mr. President, you just mentioned Japan.
This looks like one of your people. Right?
Thank you.
Is he good or bad? Good. Is he a good reporter or bad? You know?
So.
Not a, all right, looks like a nice guy. Go ahead.
Mr. President, you just mentioned Japan is stepping up. What kind of support do you expect from Japan in the future?
Look, I expect Japan to step up because, you know, we have that kind of relationship, and we step up for Japan. We have 45,000 soldiers in Japan. We have we spend a lot of money on Japan, and we've had that kind of a relationship. So I expect. I'm not surprised that they would step up. We don't need much. We don't need anything. I mean, honestly, we don't need anything from Japan or from anyone else. But I think it's appropriate that people step up. In the case of Japan, I hear they get more than 90% of their oil through the strait. So that's a big reason to step up. I mean, we've demolished, that country is close to demolished. The only thing is the strait. It's very hard. You could take two people and they could drop little bombs in the water and they're holding things up. We don't want that to happen. But honestly, Japan, China, Europe, parts of Europe, get a lot of their oil through the strait. We get none, practically. We're less than 1%. We don't have to be any percent. We don't even, I think we do it just to be nice. But we think of it, we don't use the strait. We're defending the strait for everybody else. And then in the case of NATO, they don't want to help us defend the strait, and they're the ones that need it. But now they're getting much nicer because they're seeing my attitude. They're getting much nicer. But it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's too late. You know, UK wants to send aircraft carriers now. And I said, I want the aircraft carriers before the war. I don't want them after the war is won. They want to send me aircraft carriers after the war is. There's practically nobody to shoot at them. You know, their missile count is down, Pete. Maybe you could discuss it by about 90-something%. The drones are way down, and the factories are being demolished. Maybe.
Yes, sir. Our missiles being shot are down over 90% since the beginning. One-way attack drones down 90% since the beginning, which is a reflection of overwhelming firepower. But you mentioned the most important part, Mr. President. Their defense industrial base. If you can't make more of it in the future, then you have a limited supply. And so we're going after all of their defense contractors that make all of their exquisite weapons and ensuring that even if they wanted to rebuild more launchers or more missiles, they couldn't in the future. And that's a level of devastation for their military that they've never seen before.
So we have, in literally 2 weeks, we've demolished their Navy, their Air Force. All technology is gone. All communication is gone. And all of the leaders are gone. Other than that, they're doing quite well. Okay, how about one more question for the Prime Minister? Let me pick a beautiful person from Japan. A question for the Prime Minister. Go ahead. Yeah. Oh, he doesn't believe he's beautiful. Oh. He's sounding shy. Go ahead, please.
Of course, now Japan and US are very good friends. But one question: why didn't you tell US allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay, right? You know, he's asking me. Now you believe in surprise? I think
oh my gosh!
And
Goodness,
we had to surprise him, and we did. And because of that surprise, we knocked out the first 2 days. We probably knocked out 50% of what and much more than we anticipated doing. So if I go and tell everybody about it, there's no longer a surprise, right? Okay, one more for the Prime Minister. Please. Are you good for the Prime Minister?
Yes.
Go ahead for the Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. Japan's TG Press. Japan
Japan's biggest concern is China. Now they are giving us export control and very harsh terms to criticize us. So will you plan to bring out relationship between Japan and China while you are there?
Well, I'll be going to China very quickly, but I think I'd really like to have the Prime Minister talk about China because I know they have a little bit of an edgy relationship, and I'd just like to know where it stands, how you're doing with China. So, please.
で、日本はいつも中国に対してオープンです。会話はオープンにしています。それから、冷静に対応しています。とにかく米中関係も含めてですね、これが地域の安定、それから世界のサプライチェーン、これに貢献するものであることを願っています。日本は常にオープンです。
So first of all, Japan has been consistently open to dialogue with China. And also, second, we have been addressing our relations with China in a calm manner. And also speaking of the US-China relationship, my sincere hope is that the relationship will be something conducive for regional security and also ensuring the global supply chain in the world. Once again, I would like to reiterate that Japan has been consistently open to dialogue with China.
And I think we're going to have a great trip. The trip has been postponed for about a month and a half. It's been reset, and we look forward to it. And I'll be speaking Japan's praises when I'm in China with President Xi. But we're going to have some good talks today. And I think mostly about trade, because they want to do a lot of trade. They're a tremendous purchaser of our energy, our oil, gas from, in particular, Alaska. Because Alaska, believe it or not, is very close. It's much closer than any other source. It seems a little cold compared to, but it's just a short trip.
So that's something that we will talk after this war.
We'll be discussing trade, and a lot of the talk will be about energy. Thank you very much, everybody.
Oh man, team, we had better have that. Is it up? Is it up? The Donald Trump making a Pearl Harbor joke? Is that up? Better be up. Oh boy, I can't believe it. Who would know more about surprises than Japan? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Whew, what a way to end the show. What a way to end the show. That's incredible. All right. Madman, ladies and gentlemen. The verse of the day from Proverbs 13:7. You'll never get another one like them. Just come on. Just enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride. Okay? There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. You need to get the right versions, Klein. You need to get the version. You keep just flying into like old English, like King James. No, Klein. No. You need to stay consistent with your versions of the Bible. Okay. Anyway, yet hath nothing. He maketh himself poor, hath great riches. Let's go ahead and try that again out of the King James Version, as much as I love the old school thing, Klein. Here we go. The person that pretends to be rich has nothing. Yet another that pretends to be poor has great wealth. Stay humble in this world. A reminder that all of us have fallen short and require the grace and the glory of God, and that we must all continue the work that has been laid before us. All of us are on different paths as we move through this life. God promises us that we will have struggle. He has a different mission for all of us. But keep going. And don't ever hold yourself up higher than other people. Approach the world with humility. Build, put your head down, and work hard, ladies and gentlemen. That is what matters in this life. That's what we're going to continue to do. It's your boy Benny. Thanks for watching today. See ya.
Welcome to my Ballot factory. You will with my Ballot factory. So much democracy when you employer me. You want to win your next election. I can help you win your erection. So much democracy. Put your ballot in. I take your ballot out. I change them to your name. That's what democracy all about. TV screen, stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.